I don't know what more you want me to remember.
I really want to start with congratulations, like sincerely. So I'm so curious. One of the things that I really loved about the movie is the way you shot it, the using the use of POV. At any point, because it's not the norm in movies. At any point was like the line producer or producers or anyone involved being like, do we really want to do this?
I think occasionally there was a desire to have more coverage, because the film is anti-coverage. You know, it's single point perspective, and the film is built to miss things. The goal of it is to have the camera not be the center of the world, to be the center of someone who's in the world. And so you're not capable of understanding everything that's happening, nor are there even traditional establishing shots. And so I think maybe that came up, but everyone was very easily swayed when I'm like, it's not on the shot list.
So I am curious. Talk a little bit. I want to make sure I say this right. Jomo.
Yeah, Jomo Frey.
Right. You're a cinematographer. What were the conversations like before stepping on set to make sure you were getting what you needed? And also, like, were you thinking about the editing room and possibly, you know, you said there's no coverage, but like, were there certain days where you're like, let's just shoot a little of this just to make sure we have protection?
Well, that's a really good question. The conversations with Jomo and I were so long and over such a long period of time, it's kind of hard to obviously summarize them. But, you know, the idea of POV pre-existed conversations with Jomo, so did the images. But when you get into how it's going to be executed and how it's going to feel, man, those things are the most difficult and the most ephemeral and the most conversational things that are possible. We spent maybe 6 weeks in his Airbnb with my DSLR testing moves, you know? And that's kind of how we came to the hug, you know? That's how we imagined the thrown gazes, which people would normally call a macro shot. But to us, that was a way for us to cut in scenes because everything's imagined as a oneer. That wasn't in the script, thrown gazes. And then we also figured out when we're running out of time, we can use thrown gazes as a way to traverse the scene and still feel authentically POV. And so, man, was it amazing collaborating with the fellow.
So I love talking about the editing process because it's where it all comes together. Mm-hmm. What was it like actually in the editing room for this? Yeah. Figuring out, because there's so many things you can do or not do, obviously, you know. So what was it like in the editing room? How long did you have to edit? I'll start with that.
You know, I'm unsure how long we had to edit because, you know, I was so in it. We were just always like, can we have another 2 weeks? Can we have another 2 weeks? So it kind of got lost. I think we spent around 4 months, 5 months, including sound mixing. But Nick Mansour, the editor, had an impossible task, which he did quite well, which was like, how do we make the film feel like it's breathing and evolving in the way in which a dream does, in which, you know, you take everything as it is, although it may not always feel realistic. How do you make images mean something, but not lose the overall feeling of the narrative? And so, you know, Jocelyn Barnes who's the co-writer and producer, was there almost every day with Nick and I. It was all discovery and all exploration.
So the movie's about 2 hours, 20 minutes. Did you have a crazy long first cut? Did you have you know what I mean?
You're asking the really funny questions and no one's asked. We did have a much longer cut. You know what? And if it was up to me, the film would be like 13 hours long. Be honest with you.
No, I have a real question for you. Like, no bullshit.
Yeah.
What was the cut that you're like, it's not getting shorter than this? You know, like, was it 3 hours? Was it like, what was the one where you're like, what are we cutting?
It was this one.
Wait, so you got the 220?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So this was the one where you're like, I don't know, it's not getting shorter than this.
Yes.
Right. So you know what I mean, though?
But you're asking, I just want it to be literal.
Yeah, like, because So I've spoken to some filmmakers and they're like, we were at 3 hours and we were like, what the fuck do we do?
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Well, I don't know, I feel like maybe everyone's not as fortunate as I am to have the people surrounding me. Like, everyone had such good reasons to cut it down, and we didn't need to have this extra 3 seconds on this scene, and we could still get the meaning that could happen when the images collide if it was a little bit earlier. And making all of these micro changes over time, I think maybe the original quote unquote director's cut was at 250. or something. And that was the best we could do, you know? And then when you get the feedback, you realize maybe you can do better. And then we end at this one.
Which shot or sequence ended up being the toughest to shoot and why?
Toughest to shoot. To me, the toughest to shoot, which involves such, you know, because it's not contingent on actors. Those are the ones in which it's completely out of the hands of the crafts folks, right? Like, you put everything on the plate and you hope that it just comes together and transcends the organization of the things. And that's the actors' jobs. But some of early in Elwood's life in the film is just poetic observation of moments in time, of course, that collide in a way that both has narrative thrust, but also poetic momentary meaning. And inside the classroom in which Mr. Hill is moving the arm on the record to try to find that perfect MLK quote. And then also there's a kid rapping on the desk and then a pencil falls.
Sure.
And then that's impossible. That's all in camera. There's nothing that's changed there. And it's just quite difficult.
I'm running out of time and I'm thinking about questions I want to ask you.
Ask them all. Just ask them all really fast.
Right. Yeah. So shooting in the 4:3 ratio, what was your motivation for that? And again, did you get any pressure to not do that?
No, I had to justify it, but no one pushed back. My photography is 8x10 and 4x5. It's pretty close to 4:3. I can frame a lot easier. Also, when you're going back and forth between archival footage, you realize that archival footage typically was in 4:3 because of television. That's the way that a lot of America came to know cinema and documentary. That makes a lot of sense. And so those are my reasons, and no one questioned. And I was like, thank the Lord.
What am I guess I do want to ask, it's a little generic, but like, what are you really excited for audiences to see with this film?
Yeah, I think I'm excited for them to see what it looks like to be seen as a character, as opposed to being over their shoulder, or to be that spirit or angel or objective viewer or godlike thing that the camera does naturally, but to be looked at by Hattie and have that transfer of emotion that actors as talented as her give to the other actors that we normally see from a distance, to have that come to you. I want people to experience that look of love.
I have to wrap with you, but I am curious, are you working on something else? Because I am looking forward to what you do next after this.
Thank you. I am not working on something else, but I am working on the other thing, which is myself. And I hope to take a long and lengthy vacation, maybe spend some time underwater and in the sky.
Sure. I'm going to leave it there and say you really did a great job, and good luck with the rest of your speed dating.
Thank you.